Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Eddie Austin Scott here. We're doing the Inner Compass podcast episode. We're on episode number 2, and I'm so excited today because it's all about planning. And Scott and I was kind of talking right before we started the episode about a letter that he wrote, and he's got some details on that, and it's so cool. So today's all about planning. Like, if we're going to go somewhere, we got to set the inner compass to the right destination. Is it true north? Is it due south? Where are we going? That's going to be the most important thing we could do. So, Scott, kick us off, man.
Well, hi everybody. Scott Kidd. Glad to be here with my friend Eddie Austin, and host of the Yacht Captain Investor podcast. I'm glad that we're doing this on to find everybody's inner compass. As we were talking before, I was just talking about a personal declaration letter that you write it a year out. I had a coach of mine. He had me do it a while back, and I kind of revisited it at the beginning of the year because I'd gotten away from it. And you write the letter as if you've already done it, everything that you've accomplished that year. And then you keep going back to it and refining it and refining it. And what I've found that it does for me, and it has done for me, is that these things start happening throughout the year, and that you're putting yourself, that future self, in that place where you have you've already done it, and you're there, and it kind of keeps that mindset that, hey, regardless, I say, for instance, here in real estate, I'm going to have 500 units. I'm going to close on 3 properties. I've closed on 3 properties this year. My wife and I went on 2 vacations this year, and you're already coming from that place that you've already done it. And I've found that just in writing the letter, it kind of helped me work my way back from that goal and kind of put myself in the mindset that I've already done it. So I think it's very incredibly important.
Wow. I think you're right because I do a lot of coaching. I coach a lot of people, and one of the biggest things that's been the mind shift for everyone that I've coached is let's get really, really clear on where you're going. And I love the premise behind this. What you just said was it's kind of like you've already done it. So, that's really like when we whiteboard, whiteboard has 2 destinations on it. Number one, it's taking inventory, like where you're starting, like the very, very beginning. And if you're starting below 0, that's okay. No big deal. It's where are you truly starting at? What do you have and where are you trying to go? And then the biggest thing is like the deadline, the date. So if you're writing this letter every year, the date. You're not going to take all your vacations and all your closings all in December. So you're probably doing this throughout the year when it makes sense. And you probably know when your busy times of your life are and when your slower times of your life are. So you're kind of planning that out. But the biggest thing that's the mind shift for everybody, that aha moment is look, if you're going to give yourself 5 years to get to this point, which is over here, and you're going to make $5 million, and this is where you're starting at with 0, everything in between is like the business plan. Like you're reverse engineering how to get here. And if that takes 5 years, so we need to make $1 million a year. Okay, well, what efforts do we need to do to make $1 million a year? Like, what is it? Is it several different things, or is it one thing? And you start to get really clear. So I love the letter idea because you already know. Now we can start to plan, right? Like you're planning out, look, well, I need to take time off for this vacation. And I need to get this many investors to invest this much to close this deal. Man, I love that.
Yeah, and and I think it's what I got from Dr. Benjamin Hardy, as I follow him a lot, is you don't work your way to the goal, you work your way back from the goal, because the goal is the destination. And like, say, for instance, in your example of $5 million a year, okay, so you have to break that down in 5 years, so that's $5 million a year. So then every 12 months, a million is roughly, say, 95,000 a month or something like that, or
so $1 million a year to get 80, to that 5 years. So we're probably talking, roughly 84,000 a month to hit that. And then that's $1 million. So that's, if you do that for 5 years in a row, hopefully you get better and better at it, right? So
Yeah.
you make $1 million this year, and maybe you make 1.5 to 2 next year, and then you
Yeah.
get there even quicker. But it all started with a concept,
Mm-hmm.
starting from zero or starting where you are. To be honest with yourself,
Yeah.
and then from that point, man, where are we going? And
Yeah.
then what resources? What do we got to do? We need to close real estate deals. We need to write books. We need
Yeah.
to get sponsorships for this podcast. What's it look
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. What kind of offers do you need to make to get? Because if you take it from the 84,000 a month, then it's 7,000 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes basically $1,000 a day, all day. So what
Yep.
kind of offer do you need to make to do that right now? And also, by working that way back, it breaks it into smaller pieces, so it's easier to understand. And then you can make it more clear, more simple. Like, oh, okay, well, I can make a digital product or something for $1,000 offer, or sell 4 products at $250 a day for
Mm-hmm.
that amount. And like, where do you need to do? Well, you need to maybe make the product and you market it, spend this much on marketing, and then it just kind of expands from there. But when you
Yeah.
break it down into those smaller increments, it makes it a lot easier for your mind to understand, because when you're just looking at the goal and you see it far away, it can be very overwhelming. But if you're thinking of it as you've already done it,
Yeah.
then your mind kind of switches on and goes, oh, wait, I've already done it. So I've done this, this, this. And as you break the plan down, you see, oh, I did this, and then I did this, and I did this. I did all those things as you work back to where you are now. And it might be at zero, but
Mm-hmm.
then you start to see the path, and then you just start taking that action, those little actions that become those large, large goals.
Yeah. That's so true. Is we gotta, the saying always goes, "How do you eat an elephant?" Well, it's one bite at a time. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of us formulate a lot of anxiety around the unknown. Like
Mm-hmm.
they get so tore up on, man, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know how much effort. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how long it's going to take. But if we realize that this trip from north to south is going to take 16 hours,
Mm-hmm.
that we know that every hour we're 1 hour closer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we already know that, hey, we got to stop 3 times for fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And during those times, we can take, a 15, 20-minute walk or take 30 minutes to grab lunch. So we know, okay, we're going to take it maybe 16, 17 hours to get there, and we're going to be at a relaxed pace.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, now what is there to worry about?
Yeah. You've
You
broken
got a
it down.
spare tire.
Yeah.
You got plenty of resources there. If something goes wrong, you got AAA. So what are you worried about? Like I think a lot of us get super worried about the unknowns,
Yeah.
but we don't take a lot of time to put the unknowns out front.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of times we don't relate the stuff that we give ourselves credit for, the knowns that can help
Right.
us get to that unknown. And, what can be even more overwhelming is that thinking of keeping in mind that goal being so far away. When, actually, if you broke it down, that 5 year example we made, you could probably condense that and do it in a year if you really got going, because once you get to those products that you're selling 1,000 a day, you probably think to yourself, well, I think I could double this, or I think I could triple this. And just by using those known things that, like, hey, I can build this product, or I can bring in, I brought in 2 investors today. Well, maybe by the end of the week I can bring in 4, or 6, and once you do it, you got to build on that momentum
Yeah.
and just give yourself credit that, like, hey, I drove the 4 hours today, and I took the little bit of a break, and then I can do another 4. You got to give yourself credit that to relish in those successes, because I think we were talking about last time that I've had a bigger problem with fear of success than fear of failure, and I've
Yes.
recognized that over the past few years that that puts me into a more uncomfortable space because I don't celebrate those little successes. I just kind of go and move into the next thing where I don't give myself credit. Where if I fail, I overanalyze and beat myself up about it to where I'm never letting that happen again. But
Yeah,
the success, I should go, hey, you did good. You followed the plan. You did it. Let's see if we can take it to the next level.
for sure. And I think the biggest thing is I know myself, I'm guilty of what does the success look like? What is
Mm-hmm.
how much time will it take? So I no longer look at really how much money will it make, but how much time will it take from me.
Yeah.
So I've kind of
Mm.
switched that mindset. In my younger days, it was all about how much money can I make. It
Yeah.
wasn't about how many hours I was spending. It was just like, well, if I work 100 hours a week and make 300,000 or 400,000 a year, no big deal. But why don't I try to figure out now today? It's all about, well, if I make 300,000 or 400,000 dollars a year and it takes me 100 plus hours to make it a week, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
interested
No.
because what I don't have more of is time. But they print money all the time, so I don't want to get involved in just
Yeah.
burning down my time that I'll never get back. So now I think about everything, and I was just evaluating a deal before I came on the call is if it won't make me $1 million a year, I say no. Or if it has probable cause to make that much. And
Mm-hmm.
I also look at how much time can I hire other people? And I think the biggest difference is a lot of us we sign up for things and not understand the time component of it. And then we
Yes.
say yes to too much. And then
Yeah.
from that standpoint of saying yes to too much, there's not enough of us to go around.
I think that's so very true because when you say yes to something, you say no to all these other things, and that circles right back to what you were saying about clarity of purpose. Like if you're not clear on what your directive is, you're not going to. You probably it's going to be a larger likelihood that you probably won't make it because if you're doing all these other things, you have all these other things in your way. That goes back to also like you could probably do it sooner if you got all those other barriers that you're putting in front of yourself to that's stopping you from doing these things because when you start from beginning and you start looking at that goal that it's far away and you're working to that goal, you start to do things like, oh well, I can't get to the next level because I need to learn this course. Or
Yeah.
like say for instance you're becoming a doctor. Well, I can't go to here until I finish medical school. I can't go here until do residency. Can't do it until I'm this, until that. And then rather than working your way back and just seeing what you have that can make those little increments
Yeah.
all the way there, making it get to you there. Because if we look at it far away, we keep putting things in front of us and take on more than we need. We get wrapped up in all the busyness, not the business of what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not being selfish; it's just being purposeful.
Percent. Yeah. I mean, I think I've had to explain myself to a few people I really care about of why the reason I'm saying no to certain opportunities that they felt like was just a really good opportunity for
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, no, the reason I'm not investing in this or doing this is because this is the main goal and this is where
Yes.
I'm going and I'm not going to get off track.
Yeah.
And I think that we also have to, like you said, and going back to it, we also have to give ourselves a high five for going this far and
Yes.
then realizing that there's distractions and saying, no, not yet, or no,
Yeah.
and saying, hey, I made it this far. And just like I do believe that somebody could make $5 million in 5 years quicker than that
Mm-hmm.
because you learn, like you said, you learn something and you're like, okay, this works. I marketed this course or this thing or this capital raise this way and it worked better than I thought. What if I pull
Mm-hmm.
gas on it?
Yeah.
Like, what if I spend more time in this area
Yeah.
and it works 100 times faster than I ever planned? Go
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Just drill hard down on what actually works. It's much easier to get distracted and throw all those self-sabotage and procrastination things in front of yourself to where you get muddled and you're not really sure where the actual directive is. But if you go hard back into that and double down on, like you were saying, on what works, I can almost guarantee that your next step is going to be your best step, because you're going to
Yeah.
be stepping into that person that accomplishes that goal, that person that everything in that letter you wrote is true, and it could be even times 10. Because I
Yeah.
know when a lot of things I've done in my life, when I started, I had that big goal, and after a year or so, like, I passed that in 3 or 6 months, and then it was what next. And it's similar with, the real estate stuff. I started maybe buy one house and maybe have 10, and
Yeah.
in a few years, and then I got into apartments, and now it's a fund, and you know the next thing I know is going to be a multi-billion-dollar fund without,
That's right. That's right,
and
man.
and I'm really excited about it. And
Yeah.
it's like, did I think about that when I got started? If I thought about that, I probably wouldn't. When I was buying the first or second single-family home, I probably would have been so overwhelmed I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know that was something that a guy like me could do. But
Right.
now I know that anybody can do it if they
Right.
just really just find people like yourself and other people like that are like-minded. They're doing things that are, may not be exactly what I'm doing, but when I see other people doing things that are very positive, I get a huge amount of energy out of it, and I just, like, it almost makes it to where I have a hard time sleeping.
Oh man, that could be a full episode on that. I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I've had for good reasons. Just
Yeah,
because I couldn't shut it off. I don't.
yeah.
There was a time that I slept when I was tired,
Oh wow,
and then there's also been a time where I slept when I was done.
done. Oh, yeah,
And that was a big difference. Like working in an impassionate position to just because I have to make the dollars.
yeah,
I'd be like, I gotta go home for a while. I gotta take a nap. I'm
yeah,
just exhausted. Like I'm not sleeping because I'm done with the project. I'm sleeping because I have to. I'm tired.
yeah, yeah. Because
And
you're broken.
now there's been times through the building of these businesses that we're involved in, there was times I didn't sleep because I couldn't shut it off and I wasn't done. And it felt good too because
Yeah,
I wasn't tired. Like there was times be up 2 or 3 days
yeah,
and still like not even an ounce of tired. And I think that's a big thing is realizing that I got tired from doing something I was not passionate about,
yeah,
working myself for the one reason to make money.
yeah,
And now there's been times that I didn't sleep simply because I'm not tired.
yeah,
And I'm like, I'm not done either. Like I know this is going to help somebody when I finish it.
yeah,
And now I sleep because I'm relaxed
yeah.
because I have some gratification from helping people. We've done deals, things are working, and,
Hmm.
and I put in my time and then I'm like, hey, I'm going to take some rest.
Yeah. Well, I've realized that sleep has been an issue for me, whether I'm excited or not. But like my kids, I've worn a watch in like 40 years. And my
Yeah.
kids, for Father's Day, before I left on the boat, they bought, and my wife bought me an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And now I'm hooked on it because it shows, like, I was trying to track my sleep without doing the tracker or whatever. And
Yeah.
I come to find out, I sleep a lot less than I actually thought I do. and we were talking about it earlier with a couple of the crew, and they say, that's a fast track to the grave. And I'm like, hey, thanks.
Yeah. Well, for me, I've always when I notice when I'm really doing well, health, body, mind, spirit,
Yeah,
like everything's just kind of working. 5 to 6 hours,
yeah,
I'm done. Like I don't need to sleep
yeah,
anymore than that. Healthy diet, everything's working. Like I'm fully charged. And look, if I'm going to sleep on my own without medication or anything else, and waking up without an alarm clock, my body must say, "Hey, you're done.
yeah.
Ding, time to get up."
Yeah, and
I'm not tired.
it's one of those things that's about where I'm at. So 5 to 6 is a good night.
Yeah,
Usually it's anywhere from 4 to 7 is rare for me.
Yeah.
Even like on the weekend where I tell myself, well, I'm gonna sleep in because I'm gonna go with my daughter or my wife.
Hmm.
We're gonna go do something or whatever, and I don't want to get up early, and they probably want to sleep in, so I'm gonna give them a break from me stomping around the house really early in the morning.
Man, is it for you? Like you get up early and you're trying to be as quiet as possible, and the toothbrush holder falls over. Like you kick the cat on not on purpose. Like the cat freaks out, something falls
Turn
off
the
the
wrong
counter.
light on,
Yeah,
slam the door, trip over. If I try to be quiet, I'm way louder than if
yeah,
I just
me
stomp
too,
around
man.
my normal, like,
Yeah,
because I'm over conscious and overly cautious, and that's not, like, it doesn't really, like, I can step through the house in the dark if I just do it at my
yes,
normal pace, but if I'm going slow, I think I throws my rhythm off, and then
yeah,
yeah, that's a bad day for everyone else in the house, just because I'm trying to be quiet.
yeah,
So I found that I just step through it like I'm doing
yeah,
my normal day, then
yeah.
it's fine. But sleep, like you said, we could go on for a lot because I know that's very very good. But like you said, like when I'm like on, not, I don't want to say on fire, but when I'm, things are humming along, like I really don't need that much sleep.
Right,
You know,
right.
I
Yeah,
and because I'm excited about getting up, I'm excited about going to sleep early, and and things, and you get into those rhythms of life and stuff where you're okay with whatever comes,
mhm,
whether it's good, bad, or different, you can handle it, and
yeah.
that comes with a lot of experience, and you can have a lot of knowledge, but wisdom comes from that knowledge, just from experiencing all those things in
It
life.
does.
you know
Yeah, I think how you receive bad news
hmm
or things just not going as you planned is just 100% mindset. Like this
hmm
week, man, I got hit with a few good things that should really shake me,
yeah.
and I'm actually excited about it. Like
Mm.
I'm not excited because of certain things happen, but I'm excited about the next 30-day transition.
Ah,
Like this could be a devastating moment for me. It really could. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm ready for the new chapter. I'm ready for what I don't even know is going to come yet.
yeah. It's one of those things where there's a reason why this is happening, but you've accepted that whatever comes is okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and you're like, okay, well, it's not something you're pushing past. You're like, we're going to get past it, and it's going to be fine.
Yep.
And it is really 100% that mindset, because if you take something in and you let it be all consuming, it could possibly be the end of you. Like if you and I've seen it with myself and other things, but fortunately I've worked past a lot of different things. But I've seen it where some people, just something devastating happens to them and they don't recover,
Yeah.
and they cannot get past it, and it's really almost just some blockage in there where it has affected them. And I wish I knew there was a secret to it, to where I could help them just get out of that funk, or get out of that thing, because we've all been there.
Well, I think I've been able to identify, and this was my own self evaluation, that I was able to find ways I help myself, and then now I know how to help other people. So, for instance, I think we really do, through divine intervention in some things, we
Hmm.
manifest our own destination
Yes.
by the things we repeatedly say.
Yeah.
And I know for me, there was a point in
100%.
my life through like a really hard time that I told everybody that I would meet, the ones that wanted to hear it, and even the ones that are like, "Why are you telling me this?" I told them about my problems
Mm.
and how bad it was, and I complained about it, and all kind just went on and on. What I did was all I did was manifest more problems in my own life,
Yes, it does.
because all I did was subconsciously tell my mind, we want more problems because that's all we talk about.
Yeah, that's most definitely true, because if what you put out is going to come back to you. If you
Yeah.
keep putting out that you're stuck on these problems, And I've done that in my life where at a certain point where I just said, hey, what good is this? What good is this doing me? Like if I complain, there's a difference, between like talking like we're talking or just complaining about things. Because if you're complaining about things that you cannot control,
Hmm.
it's going to eat you up because there's no real solution. There's nothing
Right.
that you can really do about it.
Right.
But if you focus on the controllables, the things you can control, your life will get better. And it took
Yeah.
me a long time to get to that. And I found that, complaining doesn't do you any good. Things like politics and all those things that people let control their lives, like I can do nothing about that. Not in I'm not in control of who is doing what, where, with
Right.
who, and when. So I try to keep it out of my brain. If someone asks my opinion, a lot of times they'll get an answer that they don't really like from me, which is fine.
Hey.
And they tell me, do you just not care? And I said, I do care, but I don't care enough to let that control part of my life and
Mhm.
let it take up space in my brain that I could be using for something good, to where I could possibly help somebody or do something that's solving something for a family member, or
Yeah.
just working on something that I need to work through.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that we have. It's a hard lesson to focus on the controllables.
Yeah. 2000%. And I know for me, this probably needs to be podcast episode number 3 is, uh, how to keep the mind clean. Because I know
Yeah.
for me, my biggest problem is that it was like I was living in the past.
Yes.
And I was complaining about past events, and it was affecting my future. It was affecting
Yeah.
my current state simply because I can't control what already happened. It's
Mm-hmm.
done. It's past. I can control the outcome of what I'm going to do next because I could extrapolate the lessons that I learned from the reason these things failed, and I could put that in the future. But all I cared to do at that point was just complain about it that happened to me.
That thing over and over. It
And
was
it was
stuck in
just
a
like,
loop.
yeah, it was just this loop that was just on constant replay. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't break through this thing. Well, I couldn't break through it because every day that an old friend or somebody would call me up, like, Eddie, how you doing? Oh my gosh, man, let me tell you how I'm doing.
You were that guy. I was that guy sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh man. And then I realized that sometime later, some people that were in front of me, above me, stopped calling.
Yeah.
And it
And
was
there's a reason
because,
why.
yeah, the reason why was, man, every time I talk to Eddie, I'm left with a little
Yeah.
bit of a deficit on energy.
Yeah. 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 It's because it is very draining. It takes more energy out of the people around you
Yes.
to listen to that. And it's that thing. The past is the past is done. You can't change it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's not promised. So be the best you can right now. Be that future person. Like, what would that future person be doing right now to get to that goal?
Yeah.
Be that future person.
Right.
It's there's that saying, and I don't know. I heard it on Ted Lasso because I watched it. I think it's a super positive, funny, goofy show. But what was it? He said, "It's right now is a gift. That's why we call it the present."
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So, and I love that one. Like, as I try to, when I'm getting frustrated with something, I think about, okay, what can I do better? What would the future Scott do that would
Mhm.
pull himself out of this? Or
Yeah.
what would he do that this wouldn't be an issue? What would he
Yeah.
do that's going to make Scott be that future person?
Yeah. For sure. And for me, my mindset switched to living my life in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like my last lecture. What
Ah,
would my eulogy read? What would it look like?
yeah.
And then I realized that every single phone call, every step of my way needs to be purposely in that direction of how I want to be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be remembered by, no matter what time of the day somebody called me, I was able to help them in some kind of way.
Yeah.
No matter who they were. And I've had people now call me that just They know who I am, and they just call because they're down on energy or some bad things
Mm-hmm.
happen, and they need somebody that's positive in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
Yeah, that's
also
great.
told people, I said, hey man, if you're ever building something that you already know is going to be extremely hard, and you don't have a good support system around you, a good family around you, a good partner around you, and you need some pick me up, I will leave you that voicemail that
Mm-hmm.
you need to listen to at random throughout your journey
Yeah,
to get you to that other side.
that's
Because I believe
that's
that people are meant to do amazing things, but
definitely.
sometimes we do get low on that energy and we do need a pick me up. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's as easy as going back to that voicemail that I've saved and going, man, I remember
All
when that
right.
guy said he believed in me and
Yeah.
that I was meant to do this, and that's just it, because that's like, I got to keep going. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Let's go. It's time to go. I've been, resting for a minute. Time to get going. It's one of those things where if you really think about it, what kind of changes it for me was that, you know, rather than getting wrapped up and stuck in that loop, is somebody said to me, is like, well, once you start every day, instead of being stuck on that, see what you can do to help one person a day.
Mm,
That changed a lot of things for me because it put me in a position of, hey, there's a lot other people out there that need more than I do.
yeah.
And it got me out of that loop that made me realize this is all just the story I'm making in my head. This
Yep.
is, why not? There's a thing like we're making we're making our and building our own story. Why not build a great story?
Oh,
And I
yeah.
start
Yeah.
and I started thinking
Highlight
about
that
that.
moment.
And I started thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? Well, this person, maybe if it's, and even if it's just like open the door for somebody, or like somebody's trying to put some stuff in their car, hey, do you need a hand or whatever? You'd be surprised at how freaked out people get when you ask them if they need help. A lot of times they're wondering what you want.
You know, I do a lot of traveling, and the car I choose to travel in will not hold a full gallon of washer fluid. But when the alarm goes off that it needs washer fluid, I want to, make sure that I put more washer fluid in it. So when I go to the
Yeah,
gas station, I always get, it's sold in a gallon, so I get a gallon of
yeah,
washer fluid. I filling up the car, I pop the hood, I fill it up. There's like this much left.
yeah,
You don't know how many people get so freaked out when I say, hey, you want a little bit of washer fluid? Because I don't want it rolling around the trunk.
yeah.
I
In the
don't want it
truck, and it's gonna get
spilling.
all over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah,
I don't want the issues. So rather than just being wasteful and just throwing it away,
yeah.
if anybody's next to me filling up or anything, I walk over and say, "Hey, you want some washer fluid?" And they're like,
Whoa, what's the angle,
"No."
buddy? What's the
I'm like,
angle?
"Hey, look, I've gotten better at this. Like I've had to explain and say,
Yeah,
hey,
get to the story.
I bought this washer fluid and not all of it will fit in the tank. So I don't want to just wastefully throw it away. So I just figure I'd be generous and just give it to you."
Yeah,
And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And they kind of reach out really slow like it's a bomb or something. And it's
yeah,
like, "No, I'm just trying to give you some washer fluid because I don't want to throw it away." And what's it cost? Like $2 or $3?
yeah. Just a couple
I
bucks,
don't
and
want to pour it on the ground. I don't want to just throw it
no,
away.
yeah,
That's the thing is I really truly, how I do anything is how I do everything. I have
everything. Yeah,
mad respect for everybody in the industry,
yeah,
including the guy that's picking up the trash or the
yeah,
woman that at the end of her day, it's to go out and clean up the trash cans at the end of her shift and
yeah,
throw them in the big heavy dumpster.
yeah,
So for me, I think about that. I'm like, if I throw this quarter of a gallon of
yeah,
liquid that weighs 8 pounds a gallon in
yeah.
this trash bag,
It's
that's
gonna
going
make
to
it
be
heavier.
heavy. I
Yeah,
don't want to burden somebody with
yeah,
having to pick this up when it could have helped somebody else.
yeah. That's well, it's obviously that you've thought it through because we used to when I was a kid we used to have a my parents had a trash business and stuff. A lot of times guys wouldn't show up, and my brother and I would have to go and drive the trucks and stuff. And we were 18, 19 years old, and we didn't technically have a license or anything like that. But the old man said, "Well, you trucks got to get on the road. Trash comes every day, all
Yeah.
day." So we had to do that. So I respect that because I know what it takes. Sometimes you got to throw the bags in. Sometimes you got the dumpsters and stuff, and and it's funny what people throw away. In that's in there that people make no thought about it, and they just
Yeah.
toss it in there. And it can be an onerous task because I used to have to pick up all the bulk items, and actually that's what made me really big and pretty strong was one building the dumpsters. My brother would be welding, and I'd be banging, beating on the things, and my arms were like Popeye,
Yeah.
and he's running the bead like you were welding and stuff, and then sometimes I'd run the bead and we'd be hit. Most of the time, he made me do the dumb work where I was just hitting with the hammer,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I got big from doing that. But one other thing is like giving, like try this one time is like when you're in like a Starbucks or like in a lunch counter or whatever, just buy the meal behind you, no matter who they are, and you get some pretty strange reactions from people. Yeah, this and whatever she wants, and then just walk away. And then
Yeah.
people will look at you like, what's going on here?
I've done that before where somebody's at a gas station and they're kind of counting up their change, and that you could tell they're going to get $5 and
Yeah,
65 cents worth of gas.
yeah.
And I don't know the situation. Maybe they're getting ready to sell the car
Go.
and they don't want it running out before they get there. But I'll like, hey, go ahead and I want $40 on my car. Go ahead and put $30 on that car as well.
Yeah,
And the look that you get, or when somebody's struggling with their card, at Walmart or
yeah,
something, and you can kind of hear it's probably declined or something because you could tell by the general demeanor. I
yeah.
just reach over and say, "Hey, would you care if I
I
got
got
that for you?"
Yeah. No, that's great. I think it gets you out of your own head.
Yeah,
Getting back to what we're talking about, where if you give to somebody, because it makes you realize that what's going on with you is not all encompassing, not all consuming. It's in your head. That story is there, and that one task that you do for that one person that could actually change their
yeah. I
entire
mean,
life. That might have put them on the track. Like this guy only had $5.65 to get gas. He was going to a job interview. Maybe he wasn't good. He didn't think he was going to make it on that amount of
right,
gas, But hey, now he's got a full tank of gas. He can go do 2 interviews today, or
right.
something like
And
that.
that's just it. And just like giving away the washer fluid is as awkward as it's been
Yeah,
for
that's a
me
new one.
to continue to give that away. My hope, my dream is that other people, when they buy washer fluid,
Yeah,
that when they can't put all of it in their vehicle and they don't choose to save it for reasons of it rolling around the back of your car when you mash the brakes because the guy in
yeah,
front of you slams on the brakes, or you turn too fast and it falls over and leaks all over your car, that somebody else does what I did
yeah,
and give that away. Like they thought, and they got past the awkwardness
yeah, yeah,
of giving it to somebody else. And next thing you know, everybody's getting a little bit,
yeah,
and everybody's helping out the trash attendant or the
yeah,
person, the young or the older woman or the young or the older man that's carrying the trash to the dumpster in the middle of the night.
yeah.
And it doesn't have 2 or 3/4 bottles of washer fluid in
Which
it
fluid?
because
Yeah,
it helps someone else. And I do
hmm
these things not for the reason to give to make sure that it just satisfies and it just pleases everything that we do in life, but hopefully somebody will see me doing a gesture
hmm
and they will do it to somebody else because they're like,
Okay.
"That was pretty cool."
Pass it on. There's that
Yeah.
saying, "Misery loves company, but so does happiness."
Oh man, that's the truth. And that's the thing is that's another thing when going through that journey of constant complaining. I had people that constantly complained also, and they were all up next to me
Oh yeah,
because
and they
misery
just
does love company.
you're trying to outdo each other on who had the worst day or who had the worst whatever, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh, you know what happened to me today? It's like, oh, you're not gonna guess what happens with this, and it's like,
yeah,
and it just becomes a negative death spiral that you all just chasing each other down to see you could have the worst life.
Right.
And like, why not spiral up and
Yeah.
uplift each other and tell hey, what great happened to me today, and then
Yeah.
hey, this was a great thing that happened to me, and then it just kind of happens and happens. Not that either of us don't have bad things that happen in our life, or
Yeah.
things that happen that are not necessarily so great, because they're just happenings. They're not good or bad. They're just
Yeah.
things that happen. And when you put it in that context, it's not as monumental of an issue. It's
Right.
just something that happened.
I don't think people should video it during the time of giving, because I don't think that's right. I don't think it.
No,
But
no,
I do feel as many people are death scrolling on these cell phones every
yeah,
single day. I wish what they would do, just like what we're doing right here, is if they don't have YouTube, if they just have Facebook, Instagram, whatever, is when they get back in the car, I wish they would hit the record button and they'd say, I want to just share with you what good things just happened to me, whether that's the person
yes,
that received or the person that gave.
yeah,
And I was so happy to be able to have the extra money in my account to pay that $30 for the gas for that
yeah,
person. And,
yeah.
and hey, if you're watching this and you encounter that situation, then do that for
Go do that.
somebody else. If you can
Yeah,
afford to just give somebody a quarter bottle of
yeah,
washer fluid, and give it away. And
yeah.
just let it be infectious.
Yeah, and let it take over. Maybe that whole area, everybody has a great day that one day, just because of
Right.
that one action. And
Well, I mean,
it's you know,
miracles happen all over the world every day, and I know that there's opportunities that I've seen happen 2 or 3 people ahead of me where the card was declined, and the person behind them were upset.
yeah.
That the
Here
person's,
we go.
yeah, they're fumbling for card number two, and they're mad and they're saying something disrespectful to the person. It's like, hey, help them out.
Yeah,
Just give them some grace. And I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like if everybody did that, it would be a compounding, infectious event that
yeah,
eventually the whole world would change.
yeah. People take kindness for weakness, but I think kindness to me more and more is a show of strength, and that
It is.
means you think enough of someone else to be kind to them.
I think there's strength in humility.
Yes, yes,
I think that when you're strong enough to share your humility
yeah,
and maybe ask for help or just do things that other people may view as weakness, it
hmm
is strength.
yeah. And one thing that I always get back to is people take kindness for weakness, but you know just because I'm kind doesn't mean I'm a pushover. And I think there's a big misconception that people have a lot of money because they're ruthless and they've screwed over everybody in their life and they don't care about anybody. But I think that I'm finding the more and more I'm exposed to more people that are successful in money and otherwise, that a lot of them they give a lot. They probably
Yes.
give more than they receive. And
Yeah.
that's a lesson that I have learned and I've relearned, is that I give a lot, but I need to be more humble about receiving when somebody thinks enough of me to
That's
do
right.
something for me. Because I've always said, well, I don't need that, or it's okay. But I think thinking about it is like, how insulting was that this person thought enough, he was giving that to me, and I just kind of fluffed it off.
Mhm.
It's so if you receive it, then it continues the loop. It just keeps it
Yep.
going, keeps it going,
Absolutely.
going, going.
Absolutely. So, episode 3, I think, all about keeping the mind clean. I think that's a good one,
Yeah, that's a
and
great one.
we're going to continue to do this. Like I said, we don't know how many episodes we're going to do,
Yeah, who
but
knows what it's going to grow into?
this fills us up. And
Yeah,
if you're watching these episodes, um, we're building some episodes up. So if you didn't see these episodes for a while, because we're building up a little bit of a library, so if we can't make it this week or next week, it's okay. We still put out an episode every week. So we're building a little bit of a backlog. But Scott, where can everybody find you in the meantime?
in the meantime, it's Invest with Scott Kidd. You can find my podcast, the Yacht Captain Investor, and this gives me a lot of energy, gives me a lot of juice, a lot of power
That's right.
because it stuff I think about a lot, and I think just as men in general, we need to talk more about stuff like this because it shows one our strength and our vulnerability, and just the fact that we're here to help.
Absolutely. So Eddie Austin here. I run the Eddie Austin BEX show on YouTube. You'll find Eddie Austin BEX on all social media platforms. Please like, follow, subscribe, and please do us a huge favor. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with somebody else. That's the
Yes.
only way our channels grow,
Yes.
is to be able to share this with other people and have listeners and have raving fans and have people like and subscribe. And our goal to not only have good friendship here, and we love spending time together with each other and having these amazing conversations, is the people that we could possibly help by having these episodes. So please do that. Like, subscribe, share with anybody in need. We thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.